Welcome to It Takes Two. I'm Blair.
I'm Chris.
And today we're going to take a deeper dive into our thoughts about a couple of BelleAs interviews. She was on the Vile Files and also Chicks in the Office. So we're going to kind of talk about some conversations they've had and see where we stand.
Nice. Listen, this is going to be one of, I think we're going to release 2 deep dives when it comes to Love Island. Make sure that y'all subscribe, like, share, comment, all the above. You ready to walk us through this little interview?
Yes.
Walk us through this interview piece by piece, Blair.
Okay, and thank you to the Reddit poster who did the recap of the Vile Files. This is where we're getting our points from.
Okay.
So, first point, BelleDasha. How does she feel about that nickname? She loves it. She says that the dash is part of her legal name. Apparently, her name is Isabella-Ann or Anna, and her mom has like the same kind of like similar setup with her name. So, when she was younger in high school, she would go by Isabel. That's like what her first name would be, but when she moved to Hawaii for college, that's when she wanted to be called Belle and just kind of have this rebrand for herself.
Yeah, I think Isabella would have been better because that's your actual name. You get what I'm saying? But, you know, it is what it is. Let's keep going.
Yeah, I'm cool with Belle. You know, I have no opinion on that. First night impressions, no kiss rule, and swerving the guys for the first challenge kiss is kind of bold for Love Island. And what was her plan for that? Belle says that she kept a no kiss on the first date boundary. She decided in that moment to stick to it, even though the, challenge called for, wild, slimy, kind of like kissing, all that type of stuff. So I do want to say that she wanted to gain the respect of the men, is what she said during the Chicks in the Office podcast. She wanted to gain the respect of the men, and she felt comfortable when it was the one where she opened up that challenge because she felt like these were people that respected her, got to know her, and she was having fun and exploring with that. And I don't know if you all noticed, but she had a bruise like in the middle of her lip.
She did.
And I didn't know, is that a bruise or is that like part of her makeup? And the men were sucking her lips down. So it was a hickey in the middle of her face.
Oh, it was?
Yes.
Here's the thing about it. We're only 5 minutes into this episode, and this right here is the reason why you're not on the episode now.
Okay.
Right? You don't come on the show with this whole thing of, hey, I have a no kissing rule. I have a boundary here because I don't kiss on the first date. And guess what? I want the men to really respect me and things like that, to where the whole essence of the show is basically kissing. Right? When bombshells first come in. So that means you couldn't be a bombshell because the first thing the bombshell got to do is kiss everybody. Right? No one can take you seriously because even in that moment when y'all didn't kiss, if you remember in that first episode, everybody basically said, oh, look at y'all high schoolers and things like that. Basically playing on the fact that, hey, you can't be this young and then seem like you're naive and seem like you are not experienced. And then go against your boundary when it came down to a challenge because you knew, hey, I'm about to lose Nick. Like I really don't understand. That's why when like she did kiss and did everything in that challenge, it came off as robotic. It didn't come off as natural. It didn't come off as if like it was her. And my thing is, if you have a boundary and you really want it to be like this is who I am, you should have kept it up and went out on your own, I guess, morals. But it came off on screen that, hey, you was doing this to basically try to impress, where really I feel like you set yourself so far back by not kissing and things like that. No one's telling you that, hey, if we kiss on the first time, that means that, oh, these guys would never respect me. No, you're on a show called Love Island. So I really don't understand the whole premise or even like her thinking when it came down to this rule that she had for herself.
Yeah. So I do want to say, when I was watching the show, my immediate reaction is like, oh my gosh, get this girl off the island. She's she's not doing Love Island right. But after watching her interviews, I feel like people can come into Love Island how they choose.
That's true.
And I feel like as a viewer, I prefer to see it go down a certain way because it brings the most shock value. But if Belle is going to go in and know that, hey, I'm just meeting these people and I'm not ready to kiss, then I think that's up to her to make that decision. And I'm a little bit more comfortable with it after kind of hearing her talk from her perspective. And when she was comfortable and when she felt like she built up enough of a rapport, a relationship with these people, she did let loose a little bit. So I can respect that she went her pace,
Mm-hmm.
but as a viewer for this show and what I enjoy about the show, it was just the crazy outlandishness of it.
Mm-hmm.
It was a little bit of a damper at first glance.
Yeah.
But she came on here. She can be her own person, do it how she wants to. But I do want to add
Go ahead.
that she did say that during the competition, Ace pointed at Nick and laughed at him, and then went in for seconds for the kiss, and Nick was really upset.
Here's the thing about it. Let me respond to what you just said.
Yeah.
You are right. People have their right of how they want to come in on Love Island, as we have our right to be get off the island, right? The thing about Bella, if you remember, she didn't even give a kiss when she was supposed to on the first episode when she was choosing who she wanted to be coupled up with. She said, she pointed to her cheek, and the guy had to basically kiss her on the cheek, right? So she wasn't even given a kiss on the cheek. I'll say this, though, from a guy perspective, and I think Nick was on this wave, when you make it a goal to basically be the first because you want to be the one to have this boundary, guess what? The only goal is I'm going to do enough that I am the first or that I am the only. So the fact that she basically put her sexuality, which is her right, behind this glass, right? You would then you run the risk of people basically not being genuine with you because you are keeping this precious thing behind this glass. Besides coming in and basically kissing is nothing, this is nothing, these challenges are nothing, because then at that moment you kind of disarm everybody if you come in like that. Besides having a chance of somebody not being genuine with you and doing the number system with you with the whole, hey, I'm 50-50, I'm 70-30. And at that moment, I feel like Nick wasn't genuine with her.
Yeah, so they ask her about her accent, and she talks about how she grew up in Oregon, she lived in Hawaii, she's first generation, I think, Filipino American. So her accent fluctuates, and it also depends on the person she's talking to. When she's around other Pacific Islanders, it comes out a lot more heavy. And honestly, my perspective of it, the girl is 22. I think that she's still in essence trying to find herself and the way that she wants to, number one, what name she wants to use, let alone how she wants to come across in the way that she speaks and all that type of stuff. So I give her a pass if when she talks to people, her voice sounds a little bit different.
Yeah.
I think she's still exploring in that way.
Yeah, listen here. It's her voice. She could do whatever she wants with her voice. Go up to number 3. You didn't read number 3. 3 is actually...
What was that?
3 is,
yeah.
3 is very important to me as well.
So she felt unseen in the villa. Belle talked about how she felt small and that the producers only showed her boundaries but not her deeper personality. She was saying that the first 3 days she was there, she felt like she didn't really see herself when she watched the show back. And it wasn't until the last 2 days where her personality was coming out, and she says she's just such a fun, bubbly, quirky person, and it just wasn't shown.
Do you believe that?
I believe it. I think that Belle was probably nervous, and I think that she also wanted to keep her guard up and wanted to, like she said, get the respect of some of the men before she laid herself out there for everybody.
Okay.
Which is, her prerogative. And I also feel like if you're not doing much or having much something that's interesting or engaging, the cameras and the storylines are going to be put on the people that are. So
here's the thing. I do not agree with her statement at all. Right? She said that she felt unseen in the villa. Whole time she said that the producers showed her boundaries but not her deeper personality. So you feel like the producers want a bad show? Like we have to sometimes be honest. You think the producers is out here sabotaging themselves and saying, you know what we go do? We are not going to show her fun personality and her intriguing personality, and we're not going to make the best show that it can be. We just go focus on her boundaries. No, your boundaries was the most interesting thing about you. I think a lot of times we think very highly of ourselves. We may think we're funnier than what we really are. We may think we're a fun personality than what we really are, things like that. And I think she thinks that hey, listen, I'm quirky. I have a deeper personality. There's more to me than what they shown. And I'm well, in that moment, you was focusing on trying to get the respect of the men in the villa. Where whole time in Love Island, you only gonna be really connected and really closed off with one person, and you could have did everything you wanted to do with one person besides having this thing in your head of, you know what, I'm gonna get the respect of the men, no kisses for nobody. And I feel hey, The producers did their part in showing the fun side. That's why I think people like you so far, outside of them being patronizing and basically patting you on top of your head. But I think when it comes down to this, the producers did their part of showing what was basically like the fun part of you. So I don't think producers are in the business, especially when people got to keep their job season by season, to be like, you know what, I'm going to sabotage myself by actually keeping the good parts of this person out the show.
And I will say that the way that she talks, her personality, all that type of stuff was great for the promo. I mean, when I was looking at just kind of like Welcome to Love Island and, you know, all that type of stuff, I'm just like, Belle was like, looked amazing. The way that she talked was engaging. It was just like, oh yeah, we're about to get into this season. So I think that showed, you know, during the promo, but once the show actually came on, she was reserved. She just was reserved.
She was a kid amongst adults. That's what it showed to me.
So they asked her if she felt blindsided by Nick and asking if he was misleading her. And she was saying that Nick was giving her private reassurances and we didn't really see we didn't see the deeper chats. She thinks that he'd already decided on Sierra and wished that he would have said that. Also, she says that before the fire pit, she talked to Nick and he told her not to worry. And even if he's telling you not to worry, it doesn't necessarily mean he's choosing you. Just don't worry about it. You might go home, you might stay.
Exactly.
Your life will go on.
That's pretty much it. Even this right here, talking about she feels blindsided by Nick's speech. And she's talking about, yes, she did. Nick's private. But here's the thing about it. In that moment, you knew you wasn't the only one fighting for Nick's attention, right? So I really don't understand why you are only taking basically your private interactions and not in any moment inserting his private interactions with Sierra. Because number one, he kept telling you that it was 70-30, Sierra, leaning Sierra way, and then he said it was 50-50.
Yeah, you were never in the lead.
You was never in the lead.
Yeah.
Like at any point. He only felt conflicted because I feel like a lot of people, especially based on if y'all having these type of conversations, it came off as if Nick didn't really want to hurt your feelings. Like it really came off as if he just wanted to basically eliminate you, very gentle. He didn't want to hurt your feelings because you kind of do give off like the innocent girl and you don't want to crush, you know, how you feel. And basically your speech and how you were in the episode when you was leaving, it sounded like you was crushed more than you should have, in my opinion, talking about, you know, one day I will have a guy that will choose me first. And I'm just like, girl, this is Love Island, right? You didn't have the deep connection. This is not episode 22 compared to episode 3 and things of that nature. So it just felt like the weight of the elimination, you took it more seriously, at least in my opinion, than it should have, especially for someone that you just met and that you really didn't get to know, in my opinion.
So we move on to hidden connections. Who was she possibly looking at other than Nick? So she did say she had chemistry with Taylor, and she felt like he probably would have been the one to save her if she would have tried to put some of her eggs in his basket. She did say it was kind of always just friends vibes with them, and she also expressed that she had such this loyalty to some of the ladies that she didn't want to step on Olandria's toes. So she didn't really want to pursue anything with Taylor. When she was leaving, she did have a conversation with Taylor to where he said that he's upset that she has to go and that he didn't really want to push to see if there could be anything there with her because he felt like, or he didn't want to choose her because he felt like if I would have chosen you, then you might stay in the villa but still be going after Nick. So
what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, but that's why when it's the first few days, you really need to make sure you get to know everybody.
Exactly.
Don't get locked into any type of, you know, situationship, you know, triangle, anything like that. Allow yourself to be open to learn and get to know everybody else, so that way you can decide who is the best person for you, and also leave options open for the fire pit for somebody who, you know, who may choose you. So
yeah, like this is no excuse. This just lets me know that you was doing Love Island wrong, right? That you had a connection or potential connection with Taylor. Okay, cool, right? But yet you wasn't going after it. Like I really don't even understand it. And then with Charlie, when it comes down to like, oh, he get best friend vibes. The whole point is to explore. Taylor, right? The whole point is to explore when it, but she also said right here, she said Charlie by contrast was always giving best friend vibes.
Oh, okay.
Right? So the whole idea that, hey, you have these potential two connections and you are not exploring to its full capacity by day 3, 4, no one's locked in, and you have more loyalty or you have more respect to Olandria, who is not locked into her connection with Taylor by itself, to where it shot you in the foot. Like, it wouldn't have been disrespectful to basically explore what you have with Taylor. Maybe we will see a different Taylor. Maybe you will still be on the show, right? But the whole idea of, you know what, we are sisterhood, and like, you know, I ain't want to step on nobody's toes, so I just basically stay 50-50 with Nick. I'm like that, like, I'm happy that you left and that you can actually see the error of your ways. Because even now that you're gone, Taylor and Olandria is still not closed off. You get what I'm saying? We just see the episode where Hannah basically got on somebody else's lap and started kissing him, and Charlie by himself. So you did yourself a disservice by not serving yourself first. I thought you came here for love.
And she had some hesitations because Taylor reminded her of her ex in a lot of ways, just like aesthetically, and that gave her some pause.
Well,
So pretty much the next point, only thing I really care about is whether or not she thinks she's going to show up on Casa Amor. She doesn't know. It's up to the producers to say if she will or if she won't. But I say get some fresh girls in here and see what's going to happen.
She's not showing up to Casa Amor because I feel like she already accused the producers of basically cutting out her fun personality. And in that moment, you don't want to make an enemy of the producers. I don't know if you remember last season, but one guy, he chose the wrong girl outside of the producer's choice, and they got rid of him next. So, and he wasn't invited to the reunion. I forgot his name, but I see his face, right? But the whole idea, she already talked bad at the producers. I think it would be a bad look to bring her back because she's not gonna do anything but have her boundaries. I'm cool on her boundaries.
So she thinks Ace and Shelly are in game. Ace is testing everyone just so he can commit to Shelly later. Huta and Jeremiah, she's happy for them, but she is worried about their tunnel vision and how it will everything will shake out after Casa. She did say that she warned Huta that she should get to know other people, and Huta did not take that advice. And she has been keeping up with this show, and she sees the cracks in their relationships. Mom and Dad, she said that she was really the only person that called them Mom and Dad because she was sleeping in the bed by herself next to Huta and Jeremiah, and they would console her.
Here's the thing about it, right? How are you going to give someone advice and then not use your own advice? You telling Huta that she needs to go and explore other people while you, on the other hand, was waiting for Nick. That's why I'm like, I think we have a little bit, I think there's a different feeling and in a different POV of when you're actually in the villa compared to you're watching it on TV, and then like you can kind of see it from a bird's eye view of what people should be doing. But what it looked like y'all girls had a unspoken rule to where y'all wasn't gonna step on nobody's toes, right? To where, hey, I'm gonna respect Olandria, even though Olandria did not say it would be disrespectful to talk to Taylor. Jeremiah and Huta was basically closed off without anybody saying anything. So no one's pulling Huta, no one's pulling Jeremiah. There was like an unspoken rule that y'all was following. And at the end of the day, it doesn't serve y'all. It serves everybody else except for y'all. So yeah, I agree.
Yeah, so just a little bit of tea. Nick once told her that he had been in an open relationship before, so she wonders if him juggling two girls was familiar to him.
Okay.
So she talks about exit feelings and on-screen looks, the good job Sierra whispered to Nick after Bella's dumping. It didn't rub her the wrong way. Well, it didn't rub her the right way, but she didn't think it was malicious. Watching back, she learned that Nick kissed Sierra in the photo booth minutes after soul tying with her, which she considered to be diabolical.
Why? That's literally that's the whole point of the show, right? That is how he's finding out. Hey, because here's the thing about it. The reasons why it's diabolical is because she have kissing and physicality behind this glass, right? Behind this glass to where, break in case of emergency. So she broke her own glass of physicality for the challenge and things of that nature. So now she views it like, when we kiss, it actually should mean something to you because it means a lot to me. And I'm like, you can't put that on him, because now when they go in the photo booth, Sierra's just being fun. You know what I mean? And that's the thing that I think we are missing with BelleA. BelleA, you just wasn't fun. And you know how I know you wasn't fun? Nick asked you a question. What do you do for fun?
Beach. Which the beach can be fun. I'm not coming at her answer.
I am.
But the thing is, like, the conversations also were not hitting BelleA. They were not.
But my thing is, if Nick knew you was a fun girl, he wouldn't have asked you a question, what do you do for fun?
Yeah.
So he's trying to search for something. Hey, what do you do for fun? Do you do parties? Like he's basically searching. And you're like, no, I don't do parties. Okay, then what do you do for fun? Hey, I like beaches. I think beaches are cool. You get what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, there wasn't enough conversation, or at least, in my opinion, fun conversation, for Nick to pick you outside of the physicality part. So when Sierra said good job, I actually do not think the good job was really towards a good job of picking me and not BelleA. I think everybody has to say a speech, and at the end of the speech, you basically get a, hey, that speech was wonderful.
Right.
You you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But the whole kissing 5 minutes after talking to you, or after kissing you in soul ties, that's the normality of being in a love triangle. I get to actually talk to one person, and then I get to talk to another person, and we may end up kissing.
But that's what gets me about when people start talking about, do things respectfully and all this type of stuff. Because even Sierra was a little grossed out when she learned that BelleA and Nick kissed about 5 minutes before he kissed her.
Okay.
And I will say, the swapping of the spit and all that type of stuff is a lot, but y'all do that literally in challenges all the time, like one to the next, to the next, to the next. So maybe she just wanted him to be more transparent. And I think that when it came to Sierra, Nick held back a little bit about where he was with BelleA, but I think most of that might have been because BelleA was never in the lead, because it's really nothing to say to Sierra if BelleA is not in the lead. I think with BelleA, he had to let her know, kind of be mindful of where you stand, because it's not a sure thing for you.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, and that's 100% facts. I agree with that. I think just the premise to, like, your point of the show is, I think we have to view kissing as not disrespectful. Yeah. Like the whole idea of kissing, it's actually kind of crazy, because do y'all remember Pepe kissed with Hannah last night?
Yeah.
That seemed a little bit more disrespectful than what Nick was doing with Sierra. I don't know what I'm doing there. I think I'm splitting hairs there. It just seems like, oh, this is very sexual and sensual to me right here. But when it came down to Nick and Sierra, the whole premise of how they met was off a kiss. The same way with Pepe, right? They met off of being a bombshell, and guess what? The same way as she went around and kissed every guy. You know what Charlie did when he got to BelleA? He kissed on the cheek. Yeah. Right? So obviously it was a rule that definitely everybody knew, hey, we're not going to basically bombshell this person. We got special rules for this girl right here, right? And then they go into the hideaway, and of course they're going to be kissing, because her job as a bombshell is to lead with basically, I think as a bombshell, they lead more with their sexuality and more physicality, because their whole job is to basically to basically disrupt whatever normality you got coming in. That's why when bombshells come in, they say things like, I'm coming in for Jeremiah and Taylor. You get what I'm saying? So they are automatically going to lead with physicality. So that's why I view Sierra kissing Nick very differently than Hannah kissing Pepe, because Hannah, you're actually in a couple, not closed off, right? You're in a couple with Charlie. Compared to Sierra, she's trying to win Nick, right? So now I'm going to put the pressure on Hannah. Hey, are you going to be honest and transparent with Charlie, compared to Nick having to be transparent with you when it comes down to his decision with Sierra and like yourself? Yeah. I'm splitting hairs, but it makes sense once you actually
I guess the main thing, if we're going to talk about Hannah, to me, is that Charlie doesn't even know that he's in a competition or a love triangle. And I think that with Nick, he made it transparent that he was getting to know both ladies. And Hannah, y'all snuck away in a sneakeasy and started straddling and all this type of stuff.
Facts.
And I feel like Charlie doesn't know where you really stand, and I don't know if she's even going to tell him, to be honest.
I don't think so either.
But we'll see. And not that she needs to tell him that she kissed Pepe, but I'm thinking and I could be totally wrong.
We splitting hairs here.
That the fun with Pepe, number one, is that he's new,
Mm-hmm.
but also we sneak around and we do things, and it makes it more hot and more sexy. And then when Charlie finds out, then it's going to be like, oh yeah, well I am getting to know Pepe. We are open, but why y'all sneaking then?
Yeah, but
talk out in the open.
Exactly, but I'm saying that's very different in my opinion.
It is.
Than like Sierra talking about, oh, I didn't know you kissed a Bella 5 minutes before me, or even like her being like, oh, like, you know, we kiss here and then 5 minutes you kiss it later. That's different because exploring, guess what? Kissing is involved.
It's part of it.
It's part of the love triangle. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Overall, how do you feel about Belle, Blair? Now that we got to hear from her outside the villa.
I feel like how I felt before. I think she's a sweet girl. I think that she's just kind of trying to find her place when it comes to relationships, boundaries, comfortability with her sexuality. And I think that's exactly where she needs to be at this point in her life. I think that with Love Island, it does make people, you know, us as the viewers want to see things accelerated, and we want to see things get to it so we can be shocked and astounded and engaged.
Yeah.
But for who she is and where she's at in life, she's doing what she needs to do. And I don't really have much critiques for her other than, you know, I just don't think this was a show for her, to be honest. Yeah.
And when you say sweet girl, I just want to make sure that like you're not patting her on top of the head when you say sweet girl.
No, I'm not saying that to patronize her in any way. I think that she comes across as like a kind person, and I think that she has been a friend to a lot of the girls in the villa, and even though she didn't owe any of them loyalty, I think that she could see that, you know, certain people had certain connections, and I think also with Olandria, Taylor was the only guy there for her with the country thing that they both have, you know, in common. So I feel like when I say that she's sweet, I think that she's mindful, friendly, and just a genuine person to be around, the way that she comes across.
Yeah. I'm over here looking because I do not remember their names, and I think her name is, there we go, right? Season 6 cast, right? Here's how I feel about Belle. Guys, let's not make her a main character. I feel like what we're trying to do with Belle, what we're trying to make her as compared to like everybody else, she was the first one eliminated. This is not a Liv situation. Remember last season with Liv, to where when like she left, she basically was like the foundation for all the girls. She was a girl's girl, and everybody really felt sad when Liv left and things like that. But that was later on in the season and things like that. Hey, we haven't seen enough from Belle that this is a Liv type of exit, to where like there's not enough character, there's not enough personality, there's not enough time that we've seen with Belle. And she may be a sweet girl, and she may be an innocent girl, and she may actually be all the things that she said she is. But let's not make the mistake, guys, of making her a main character. Like she's not a main character in the essence of, hey, there's a lot of season we have left of Love Island season 7. So I think after this interview and so forth, I think it's good for us to basically be like, oh, okay, let's move on. You get what I'm saying? Like Belle is not someone that I think that we should be hoping that we see her again in Casa. Her appearance on the show was not that impactful to me.
Okay.
Right? And I think it wasn't, and guess what? I must be for y'all. I don't think it was impactful to y'all either. I think y'all being condescending and patronizing, basically saying she was such a fun and sweet and girl and things like that. She was a normal contestant on the show that did not get chosen because she had boundaries, and because of her boundaries, everybody else passed her. And let's just move on to the next bombshells, the next contestants that's going to be on the show. Let us know what y'all think about the whole Belle. Is she coming back for Casa? Do you want to see her again? Are we doing too much and basically keep talking about like, oh my goodness, we wish she was here? I don't think so, right? I think she should just stay where she is. And guess what? Let's enjoy the rest of the season.
Yep.
Anything else?
Nope.
I need you to subscribe, like, share, comment, all the above. We see y'all.
Bye.